Hey guys, Sudarshan PT, thebodymech.com. Welcome to my channel. Here I'll be discussing about the human body mechanics. My channel will be helpful for students as well as non-students who wants to learn about the human body, especially the human body mechanics. I'll be concentrating more on the musculoskeletal system. In between I'll be talking about the cardiovascular system as well as neuromuscular system. And in upcoming session I'll be talking about injuries, how to overcome from injury, how to prevent an injury, how to perform better, and so on. So without wasting much time, let's begin. Let's begin with the skeletal system. What is the skeletal system? Skeletal system is a internal framework of human body which provides structure. So now skeletal system is divided into two types: axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. Axial skeleton consists skull, ribcage, and vertebra. And second one is appendicular skeleton. Appendicular skeleton is your bones of limbs, upper limb and lower limb, and shoulder girdle and pelvic girdle. So what makes a skeletal system? Your bones makes a skeletal system. Now let's talk more about bone. What is a bone? Bone is a rigid body tissue consisting of cells embedded in an abundant amount of intracellular matrices. So that is bone. Now bone again, it is divided based on type of the tissue and shape. So based on type of tissue, it is divided into two. One is cortical or compact bone. Second one is spongy bone or cancellous bone. So to have a difference, I have made this. So this is your compact bone. The honeycomb structure which you can see, that is your spongy bone. Clear? Yeah. So based on shape, bone is divided into five types: long bone, short bone, irregular bone, flat bone, and sesamoid bone. Examples of long bones are bones of your limb which are longer: humerus, radius ulna, femur, tibia fibula, and other bones like your ribs, clavicle, etc. And short bones. Short bones, example, bones of your hand like carpal bones, and bones of your leg, tarsal bones. Coming for irregular bone. Irregular bone doesn't fit in other categories which I have told you. So that's why it is called as irregular bone. Examples of irregular bone are vertebra and pelvis. Coming for flat bone, which are flat. Your examples, your skull, sternum, and scapula. Next one is sesamoid bone. What is a sesamoid? Sesamoid means oval in shape, and these sesamoid bones has tendon origin. Examples, patella and pisiform. So that is the classification of bones. Now let's talk about structure of bone. So bone structure is here. So basically bone is divided into three divisions. Okay. This is upper surface is called as proximal, downward it's called as distal. Okay. So it is proximal epiphysis, proximal metaphysis, and this is diaphysis, which is shaft. It is in the middle, that's why it is neither called as proximal or distal. And next is your distal metaphysis and distal epiphysis. So talking more about the structure of bone, you have, this is red bone marrow, and this is epiphyseal growth plate. This is responsible for your bone growth. This is marrow cavity. I will talk on detail about all these structures. This is your yellow bone marrow. This is layers, the first layer of bone, which is periosteum. And inside it has endosteum. In between periosteum and endosteum, there lies intracortical area. These three are the layers of bone: periosteum, intracortical area, and endosteum. This is your nutrient foramen. This is nutrient artery. Or vessels. This is your spongy bone. So I have shown you how it looks, spongy bone. It is actually cut section of the bone where you can see the internal structures. So this is about the structure of bone. Clear with it? Yeah. You can look at it once again. You can go backward and study it again. So let's discuss more about the bone structure. Bone has three layers: periosteum, intracortical area, and endosteum. Coming to periosteum. Periosteum is the outermost layer of the bone, which has tough fibrous membrane. Periosteum covers entire bone except the area that forms joint. So periosteum doesn't cover joint areas or joint surfaces. Again, periosteum has layers within it, two layers, inner layer and outer layer. So outer layer is responsible for attachment. Attachment of tendon, attachment of ligament, and your articular cartilage. So that is about outer layer, and inner layer has cells, which is osteoblast and osteoclast. What is osteoblast? Osteoblast is a bone forming cell. Bone forming cell. What is osteoclast? Bone resorbing cell. So these cells are important for bone remodeling during the growth as well as after a fracture. Coming to the next layer of the bone, which is intracortical area. So whatever you see from here to here, this is your intracortical area. This is your periosteum. So what does this intracortical area contains? Intracortical area contains a system called as osteon system or Haversian system. So what does this osteon system and Haversian system consist of? It consists of concentric layer of bone which is called as lamella. So this lamella has spaces between them, which is called as a lacuna. See, those small spaces is called as a lacuna. That is the single structure of lacuna. And these lacunas are the location site for osteocytes, which are the matured bones. Matured bone cells. So again, this lacuna has microscopic canals. See, these are the microscopic canals, which is called as canaliculi. So that is about the osteon system or Haversian system. Intracortical area or intracortical bone has two canals. One is Haversian canal and Workman's canal. So the function of these two canals is to provide blood supply. So these are the passage for blood vessels. And this, even your Workman has one more function, which is connecting the adjacent osteons and blood vessels of the central canal with the periosteum. So that is about intracortical bone. Now coming for the third layer of the bone, which is endosteum. See, this is the endosteum here. It is made up of very thin layer tissue. So it lies inside the cortical surface. This is the cortical surface. There is lies there. So that is about the layers of bone. Now coming for the second classification of bone according to the type of tissue it is made up of. So it is called as cancellous bone or spongy bone. So this is how it looks. Outer strong surface, that is your compact bone, and the honeycomb structure is cancellous bone or spongy bone. In this cancellous bone or spongy bones are found in the outer cortical layer. These are made up of concentric layers, which is called as lamella as well. These lamellas are arranged irregularly in a lattice structure, which is called as trabeculae. So this irregular structure, which you can see, is called as trabeculae. So these trabeculae are oriented along the line of stress. That is very beautiful about trabeculae. So what that orientation does is that it reduces the risk of fracture in a human body, because whatever stress you give, the amount of stress it can sustain, the bone which can sustain, it's all because of trabeculae. So that's about cancellous bone. If it's worth watching, like, share and subscribe to my channel. Catch you in the next topic. Until then, have a good vibe.